Pickup trucks have been the staple of the American automotive industry for decades. But things are starting to change slowly. Don't get us wrong, the Big Three still outsells passenger cars, but the gap is getting smaller as the demand for certain truck models is cooling down. Let's take a look at those who struggle. With 7 pickup truck models dealers can't sell, and it's getting worse. Number 7. Ram 1500. The famous truck maker is facing big troubles with sales these days, in the way that supply is significantly bigger than actual demand. The market supply has now reached 179 days. Of course, the most popular 1500 model suffers the most, and what's particularly interesting is that we are talking about the all-new model. The new generation was introduced last year, but despite all the novelties, buyers are somehow not particularly into the latest iteration of this half-ton pickup. We can look for reasons in many places, but one of the things that come to mind is the pricing policy Ram has been practicing lately. Unlike key competitors, Ford and GM, Ram hasn't been putting much effort into keeping the price of its truck affordable. Discounts, attractive financing, and other promotions haven't been Ram's thing in the last couple of years. Not to mention that the starting price is traditionally notably higher compared to most rivals. Then, there are some strange moves that the company made with the recent redesign. It's great that the new turbo inline 6 is here, with all that torque and improved efficiency. But still, why such a radical change? Why was the V8 discontinued? The F-150 introduced turbocharged V6 engines years ago, but it still keeps the good old V8 Coyote. Many buyers still prefer the good old Hemi, and that's one of the reasons why they're showing a lack of interest in the new generation. Number 6. GMC Sierra 1500. GMC's half-ton pickup has a pretty big inventory, and nothing suggests things could change this year, because the whole brand has been characterized by slow and steady market day supply increase. Currently, it's at around 106 days, while the Sierra 1500 stands out in particular with 116 days. The latest estimation is that there are nearly 50,000 Sierras stuck at dealer lots. Most of them are last year's models, but there are still a few hundred even from a year before. Reasons are various, but it mostly comes down to the fact that, even though the Sierra stands out as one of the most stylish and luxurious models in the class, not many things have changed over the years. There was a mid-cycle refresh a few years ago, but the current generation has been around longer than pretty much every classmate. The fact that the Sierra is more expensive than most rivals, including the corporal sibling Chevy Silverado, doesn't help either. With all these things in mind, it's no surprise that GMC dealers have been offering financing with 0% interest, and nothing suggests that things are about to change this year, because the truck is only getting older and less appealing, while the competition is only getting tougher. Number 5. Ford F-150. The F-Series has been holding the title of best-selling car in the US for decades, and things are no different these days. Still, it's hard not to notice an interesting trend, that the demand is cooling down a bit. According to CarEdge, the current market day supply is around 140 days, and there are more than 120,000 F-150 trucks at dealer lots, waiting to be sold. For that reason, it's no surprise that Ford dealers are coming up with pretty attractive offers, with small interest rates, discounts, bonuses, and other promotions. Reasons for a lower demand than before are not easy to explain, because the current 14th generation is still relatively fresh, especially if we consider the last year's mid-cycle update. The F-150 is a class leader in many aspects, including towing capacity, widest powertrain range, etc. So what experts suggest is that there is a global trend of weakening demand for full-size pickups. They are getting more expensive, so many owners decide to keep their old trucks for a bit longer, or they rather choose smaller, more affordable, and more efficient alternatives, including the fast-growing Ford Maverick. Whatever the reason is, the future brings more trouble to dealers than ever before. Number 4. Chevy Silverado 1500. The Silverado story is pretty similar to F-150's. Sales numbers have been great for a very, very long time, and are even today. Still, it turns out that the manufacturers had bigger expectations, considering that there are nearly 100,000 trucks stuck at dealer lots, waiting to be sold. The current market supply is 116 days. It's not just a number, it's also the fact that it shows further tendency of growth, so we may expect Chevy dealers to have even more trouble with selling their most popular model in the future. The reasons are various. Besides the global trend of weaker sales, mixed with Chevy's wrong demand estimation, there's also the fact that the Silverado is now the oldest of the big three. As we just mentioned, the F-150 was refreshed last year, while Ram has just introduced the new generation. Chevy, on the other hand, won't be bringing the next generation for at least another year. The current model has been around since 2019, and it lags behind rivals in a few areas, starting from subpar interior quality, lack of a high-performance version, and the fact that it can tow less than its closest rival. Number 3. Nissan Titan. Officially, Nissan ended production of its full-size pickup truck last summer, but apparently, there is still a solid number of last year's models waiting to find their new owners. The Titan has never managed to catch the attention of a wider audience, but today, it may actually be a pretty good deal for anyone looking for a no-nonsense truck, with a powerful V8 engine and old-school design approach. Because, despite that there are a few hundred trucks left on lots, the current market supply is around 150 days, meaning that the sales are going really slow. For that reason, dealers offer some pretty attractive deals, including 60-month financing with zero interest. But with the fact that the model has been discontinued and that dealers will do everything to get rid of them in a reasonable time, it's clear that there is a lot of room for massive discounts. If you have decent negotiation skills, we are pretty sure you can get an amazing deal. The Titan never had big chances for success. Simply, it was behind the competition even at the time when it was introduced. Today, it's outdated in pretty much every aspect, but still, some of us actually find that quite refreshing, especially if towing, off-roading, and the latest tech are not on the priority list. Number 2. Jeep Gladiator. Jeep's pickup truck had a few pretty good years, but since 2021, the sales numbers have been in a massive decline. In just 3 years, the Wrangler-based truck lost more than half its sales, from 90,000 peak to just 42,000 trucks sold in the last year. With that in mind, it doesn't surprise that there are thousands of Gladiators stuck at dealer lots, and that the current market supply is around 150 days. Clearly, there's a big negotiation potential for anyone interested in this attractive and off-road capable pickup. So why are dealers having so much trouble selling this truck? It looks great, offers class-leading off-road performance, and even comes with fancy features like removable door and roof panels. Still, the reality is that this is one of the most expensive pickups on the market, and that on-road driving manners are terrible. The fact that its powertrain lineup doesn't seem particularly appealing, and that it is actually the oldest model in the class, doesn't help either. Simply, rivals are cheaper and more modern at the same time, not to mention that pretty much all of them ride better on the road, without trailing behind in terms of off-roading all that much. The Gladiator needs an update badly, and it needs it right now. Until that happens, the sales will continue to drop, and dealers will suffer even more. Number 1. Ford F-150 Lightning. Ford was the first of the big three to introduce an all-electric pickup. At first, many believed that the F-150 Lightning was the future of the truck market. But soon enough, it became clear that there are many decades to come before electric pickups become a dominant force in the segment. Simply, they have way too many drawbacks that need to be solved to attract a wider audience. First of all, the max range is limited, and it becomes significantly worse during towing. The towing capacity itself is lower compared to ICE versions. Finally, there is the charging time and overall everyday usability. Way too many compromises. Consequently, the sales are much slower than expected. So slow that the company first cut the production by a half, and then stopped it completely until the current inventory sells. But the problem is that the current inventory is too big, and it will take too much time to sell out. The demand is so low that dealers don't even want to bother with these trucks, so the company is actually paying dealers up to $22,500 to order these electric trucks. But it seems like even the manufacturer doesn't want to sell too many of these, because with every Lightning sold, the Blue Oval Company loses at least $36,000. while the total loss of the EV program was $5 billion in the last year. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.